Hey, good morning everybody. Let's talk about the mystery of discard. This morning I want to show you how I wake up in the morning. I have my three sourdough starters. I have Jarvis, and I have Mason Dixon, and Doughy Parton. I gave them names because if I'm going to keep them like a pet, I'm going to have something to say to them when I wake up in the morning. This is where I put my discard, meaning I don't throw it out. Now I might if it gets huge, but I don't like throwing out stuff that I pay for, so I'm trying to make it into stuff that I will eat. So starter is pretty simple. You got to take off probably at least half of it to make it active if you're going to cook that day. So what I do is I just scoop a block into the container, go to the next one, scoop another blob, try to get it at least half. That way I don't overfill my sourdough starter and it doesn't get bigger and bigger, because as you can see, this is getting bigger and bigger, and I just used it yesterday. So you can use anything you want. A lot of people use spoons and spatulas. I have a bamboo stick that I got out of the yard because we have some bamboo on the side of the house, and I like it to stir my coffee and my starter, and I don't know, it just has a nice feel to it, and it has a nice grip, so if I'm trying to get the sides of stuff, that it will scrape off the edge and pull it around and put it down there. And then I just use a condiment container. And if I wanted to use different types of wheat, white, rye, whatever, I can choose my choice and remember which name I put it into, so I can get the different flavor that I want. A lot of people have special recipes to get that earthy flavor of what they're doing. This morning I'm doing all white, so I just put in one container, and then I use spring water because, like I said, chlorine will kill it, and I do the same size. Now, a lot of people, bakers, will tell you that everything has to be weighed, and if you want things perfect, I would agree with them, and I do weigh when I make my bread, but not for my starter. So I stir it all up and I get it going, and usually in the morning I could set this out on the counter, come back, and by pickleball being over, like around 12:30, I can either make bread, put it in the refrigerator, give it a rest so I can make it in the evening while I'm watching television, and I do it on my schedule, not on anything set, because, you know, nobody's going to die if I don't make sourdough. Yesterday, I used the discard, and I got a recipe off the internet for a chocolate cake. And I have that here, so we're going to show it to you. I don't want to make something that tastes like junk if I'm going to spend my time making it. So I want something delicious, and if it's not delicious, it's going in the trash. So I made a really nice chocolate cake. I posted this on the internet. It was very moist. I don't think I've made a homemade cake probably for about 6 years, and I'm sure it was from scratch. My husband said, "Where are the raspberries?" And I said, "Are you kidding?" He goes, "Last time you made it from scratch, you had raspberries in the middle." And I was like, "Did you buy raspberries?" And he said, "No." So there were no raspberries in it, but raspberries. This cake not only uses discard, 2 cups of it, but it also uses a hot cup of espresso. And I thought it was going to taste like coffee. It does not. I was hoping it would taste like coffee because I love coffee. I'm going to bring it to pickleball today and give it away because I don't want to get too fat. So now I'm going to tell you my story. A lot of people, when they hear murder stories, they think that there's some mystery to what's happened. But most of the time, when you witness a murder, it is very obvious what's happened. And there's no investigation, and there's no crime story. And probably the first murder that I assisted on, that I was a part of, I was standing at a convenience store in Nashville with my partner Porter, and drinking coffee and probably eating a donut. I'm not gonna lie, as a police officer, I love donuts, and a lot of times at 2 o'clock in the morning, the only thing open is Krispy Kreme. And to this day, I'm fairly addicted to donuts. So the whole caveat of police officers and donuts, at least for me, is true. I probably would have had my wedding cake made out of donuts if it was my choice. I particularly like powder and jelly. And if somebody has a great recipe, please, I've never made a good donut, so if somebody has a great recipe for a jelly donut, please post it on my account. Back to the story. I'm standing there drinking coffee, eating a donut, and this man that's probably about 50 years old runs in carrying what looks like a white rag, and he goes, "You have to help me, you have to help me." And he literally walks up to me, and my family will tell you that I'm fairly a magnet. If there's anybody odd or hurt or disturbed, they're gonna walk right up to me, because I guess I just have that face. I attract oddities. I have my whole life. And animals, which is a good thing. But he runs up to me and he has this rag and he puts it in my hand. I can feel it. It feels kind of like a long brick, and I open it up and it's a gun. And he's like, "I just shot my wife, you have to come help her." And my partner and I look at each other and we're like, "Where's she at?" He goes, "Just around the corner, you don't have to drive." He's like literally, 100 yards away. So we run after him and we get to his house, which is, steps away from the convenience store. And he's managed to lock his keys inside. So we have to kick the door in, specifically my partner Porter, who is probably 6'3". He kicked the lock off the front door, and we go in, and the gentleman isn't even in handcuffs yet, because we think she's still surviving. And we look, and on the floor, she's been shot 6 times, center mass, dead. There's a pool of blood, probably, 8 feet wide underneath her body. I check her for signs of life. She's not breathing. Even if you were to do any type of CPR with 6 bullet holes, she looked like she had been expired probably for about a half hour, and he came to his senses and decided to tell on himself. We got there, and he blurted out, we gave him his Miranda rights, and he said, "She threw bleach on me." And we're like, "So you shot her?" And he says, "We were having an argument and she poured bleach on my head, so I shot her." And he made all these admissions after we gave him Miranda. We called a detective. The detective came in, and that was not the last of several different homicides that I witnessed. There was no mystery, basically what it was. And there were, most of them involved domestic violence. I used to go to one couple that the wife would stab the husband at least once every 2 months. In fact, his name was Lenny. And we'd arrive and we'd get the paramedics, and Lenny would be either stabbed in the leg or the arm, no place vital, but he was always stabbed, and she'd get arrested, and then he wouldn't testify against her. And I would tell him, like, one day it's not going to be, an appendage. It's going to be your heart, and you're going to be dead. You need to testify against her. And that was prior to them having the domestic violence law that now the police can charge, and that's what we do now. If we witness any type of violence, that we prosecute, whether the spouse wants to or not. So if you're out there and you hate your spouse, get a divorce, go for a long walk, get out of the house for a couple days and come back, but don't resort to violence, because I would say 90% of the murders I saw were directly related to a close relative or spouse. So be nice to each other, make nice things, talk nice, be pleasant, don't be rash. And that's my story for the day. Spring water, you guys. It doesn't have to be Fiji. I just like to drink Fiji. It tastes good, that's why I have it here. Or you could just boil tap water. Some people, if they want their starter to rise quicker, they will put in warm water. Don't make it too warm, like never over 105, because that will also kill your fermentation. So try to keep it, you can go above 80, but try to stay under 100. I'm glad I use cold water just because it gives me the time to do what I want, and it rises slowly, and that way I can play my pickleball in the morning. I already have my pickleball outfit on underneath the apron, and that's what I would tell you about the starter. The chocolate cake recipe I've posted. I think it's delicious. It's moist. It's a little bouncy, like almost like a sponge, or maybe I'm just so used to box cakes that crumble and fall apart. It's unusual to have something that actually holds together. The frosting recipe is on there as well. It's a simple cocoa and powdered sugar and butter and a little bit of whipping cream, but you can use milk as well as a substitute. And I'll tell you, it's a delicious cake, but I'm not gonna eat it all, because then I'll have to play pickleball for 10 hours instead of 2. And everybody out there, have a wonderful day. It's beautiful outside here in California. Been a lot of places, traveled overseas, and I'm so glad I live in California. The weather, every day is a day for a picnic, and I can't imagine being inside and looking at rain or slushy snow and not going out. I do everything mostly outside during the day, and that's my plug for California, and anybody that lives here knows how wonderful it is. So have a nice day, everybody. Take care.